How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Shudder Magazine. This is issue number 6. Number 6, that means this is a bi-monthly magazine, so we've done a full year of Shudder now. For those of you guys who are new to the magazine, Shudder is a black and white, classically styled anthology horror magazine. You'll see lots of concepts and tropes you've seen before, but they always bend them in new and unique ways. And the cover here, we get the Executioner, a real painting that they've repurposed into a story in this magazine, and we'll get to see that as well. But yeah, this magazine used to be called The Creeps. They had to change its name. The people who made this also made Vampiress Carmilla. If you guys know any of those other two magazines, you'll like this one as well. But yeah, anthology horror, so we're going to get 6 new stories each time, all completely new, all completely unique, and really lots of clever twists on genres here. We get a few classic monsters, we get an old-time Hollywood story, we even get another issue of classic horror adapted into comics, like old-timey 100-year-ago ghost stories. So, lots of cool stuff. If you guys want to see this magazine in greater detail, I'm going to switch to the close-up camera. I'll show you guys a little bit of each story, but I won't do any spoilers. There's a twist at the end of a lot of these, and I will not spoil the twist for you. So anyway, without further ado, to the close-up camera. Alright, here we are inside the castle, taking a closer look at Shudder Magazine number 6. Let's go ahead and pull this thing closer to the camera, and we can see in the corner here that number 6 is for October 2022, and I really do like this nice black Shudder logo kind of blending into the black of the sky, and a really nice popping yellow around it. And another really fun cover, this Executioner character, a big classic old-timey tough guy on his pile of skulls with this really cool axe with a nice little curve to it dripping with blood. Overall, a really cool little character here, and a really nice reds and oranges in this cover. Really cool, really striking. One eye poking out through his hood. Anyway, after that, we should note here, they talk about the Executioner story, but they also mention the inside cover here, which is a special Monsters of the Movies. You know, Anti-Fearsome's Fables, they usually talk about one thing, and this time around they're talking about early monster movies. So, you know, there's Dracula with his brides, and Frankenstein's monster, and Lon Chaney's The Wolfman, you know? So, yeah, some pretty cool stuff in this introduction. And then after that, we get the table of contents with your writers, and we find that the cover... Well, the cover was made by Ken Kelly. I believe most of their covers are older paintings that they write the stories about later. And here we get all the stories and a little preview image for each story. So Dear Aunt Shudder, that's the letters page. Dark Castle, A Ghoul Deal, The Bloody Hand of the Executioner, that's the cover page. The Red-Haired Girl, that's the old-timey classic core. Private Screaming, a Hollywood story. And The Night Marchers, a bit of Hawaiian folklore. Anyway, after that, we have the letters page. Dear Aunt Shudder, I am absolutely thrilled with what you are doing with this new magazine. And it looks like we even have Carmilla chiming in here, which is always fun. But anyway, after that, we jump into the stories. And again, I'll show you guys a little bit of each story. I'm not going to do any major spoilers, but I do want you guys to have a little bit of an idea of what each story is about. But I'll be avoiding all those twist endings. Anyway, the first one, Dark Castle. And we open up with these two guys, and they're going off to this castle, and this thing is, they're going to come up with a story later, but there's a bounty on vampires, and they're pretty sure that the guy who lives there is a vampire. However, all the clues suggest otherwise. This guy has a cross on and he doesn't care. He says he's religious. You can see him in the mirror, and when they say, let's put garlic in tonight's stew, he eats it without dying. So they're pretty sure he's a vampire, but all their evidence suggests otherwise, and they don't quite know what to do. However, they're saying, hey, look, we were pretty sure anyway, and us bounty hunters don't get paid unless we actually find a vampire. So they're going to be tempted to do a little bit of a scumbag act there. And as we all know, if you become a bad person in anthology horror, karmic justice is always around the corner. A fun little ending to this one as well. Anyway, after that, we have a Ghoul Deal, and we get this guy. He's a security guy at a graveyard, and his job is really boring, and he wants to make enough money and retire, and he looks out the window, and he sees a bunch of ghouls, underworld people who rise up and eat corpses, and he sees the ghouls, and he gets an idea. He approaches them and says, hey, I don't really care about the corpses, but a lot of them are buried with gold and I need money. So when you guys go to eat them, if you leave me all their valuables, which you don't care about because you live in the underworld, if you give me their gold, I'll let you continue to eat them. So he's found a way to make some money, which I always do like. A fun twist working with the bad guys, and you know it's gonna backfire, but the thing is we don't know exactly how. We get this rich couple and they're talking about some sort of scheme, and I do like how the pieces start to slide together with this one, and you realize how this guy is going to get screwed over. It's a really interesting bit of a mystery there, and does a pretty good twist and turny plot for a relatively short story. So yeah, really do like that one. That's one of my favorites this issue. And then after that we get the Executioner story, and the Executioner loves his work. He's a brutal man, and we even get old Aunt Shudder dressing up as an old-timey character there, and we get the skulls piled around him. But he's having a bad dream based on the skulls, and when he wakes up, he has an illusion that his hands are bloody, and that the faces, they let him keep the heads he cut off as a souvenir. He has a hallucination that all the heads are talking to him and giving him a guilt trip about this upcoming execution he's going to do. You see, he needed some money, and he went into town and killed a guy, and the suspect of the murder, because they don't know it's him, the suspect, the innocent man, he's going to execute tomorrow. So yeah, a guilty conscience type of story. And again, you become a scumbag in anthology horror, comedic justice is always going to get you. Isn't that kind of weird how anthology horror can be any subgenre, but at the same time, the subgenre itself kind of has its own set of rules, you know? Its own rules, its own tropes, and yeah, karma. That's gonna be in a lot of these. Anyway, after that, we have a story from, what does that say? 1903, so 100 and almost 20 years old for this story, and it's called The Red-Haired Girl. You get this lady, she's living in her new house, and the daughter and the maid both continually say that they see someone watching them, and each of them think it's the other one, and appears to the head lady of the household and asks that the other one stop it. But eventually, they see that it's not either one at all, and it's actually a red-haired young girl with no face. Her face is all burnt off Freddy Krueger style, and they're like, who is this horrific woman living in our house? So it does kind of play off pretty subtly, you know. It really kind of has a Conjuring-esque feel to it, and I always am impressed, you know, whenever you see really, really old-timey horror stories, but you notice tropes and things from modern horror in there as well. So yeah, there's a creepy woman roaming about the house, and they don't know she's a ghost at first, and the lady of the house begins to suspect that their cook knows more than she's letting on. So nice little mystery there, and you know, the haunting kind of comes apart. You know, at first they think it's each other, then they think it's someone else, and then they're eventually gonna find out what horrific thing happened in the past. Anyway, after that we get a story called Private Screaming, and this guy who is a retired actor, he was going to be the next Boris Karloff, I think. He comes back to the movie lot. The security guard recognizes him and lets him back onto the lot. However, he's not there for nostalgia, and even though he says he's going to see an old friend, turns out the guy he's going to see is more of an old enemy. He pulls a gun on him and says, okay, now it's time for revenge. And you get this whole story about how he was in love with a woman, but the guy spread lies about him and stole the woman away, and then she realized she was being manipulated and she killed herself. And then there's, you know, he spread rumors about him, he got him blacklisted, and he tried to work in other sets of horror, but all these places wouldn't take him, you know? So it talks about the Poe and Lovecraft adaptations, and it talks about the gothic British movies, and we do get a bit of this guy's failing career going through horror history. We even get, you know, the teenage monster circuit, and him trying to integrate into each new horror cycle from essentially the Universal period and all the way to like Hammer and stuff. And we get to see him going through horror history in the movies, kind of staying as this outsider. And I really do like, you know, Hollywood and horror history, and this grudge between an actor and a director that uses his influence to screw this guy over, but now he's back for revenge. Now, one of the things with this story is when it's revealed what exactly is going to be the instrument of his revenge, it's something that kind of comes out of nowhere. It's, of course, a fun bit of horror, as always, but it wasn't really introduced earlier in the story, and it's just kind of like, hey, revenge is gonna come this way now, wouldn't that be fun? Yeah, okay, that's fun, whatever. So yeah, a little bit of an abrupt twist at the end, but I can't complain, really. Anyway, after that, we have the Night Marchers, and we get this kid running through through Hawaii, and we see he's being pursued by a bunch of these guys, and, well, they're the Night Marchers, but who exactly is the Night Marchers? Well, he finds out the story from his uncle that they're a bunch of ghosts, and they have a ghost king, apparently, and if you lay eyes on them, they will come after you and kill you, and apparently that's what happened to their grandfather. He wandered down the wrong road late at night, and the Night Marchers came and got him, which is such a creepy concept. The idea that, you know, you'd be like asleep at night, and then outside there's just a whole drove of ghosts marching. Really, really creepy stuff. But of course, as any good horror protagonist does, he gets way too obsessed with the creatures and begins to sneak out at night to try to see them. And of course, they see him. But of course, he's going to have a bit of a twist at the end of the story, and it's actually a pretty good twist. I didn't see it coming, and I'm like, okay, that's a fun ending for this story. But anyway, that's all 6. Once again, you get to the end of the book, and I'm always like, oh wow, it's over already. That's crazy. Fun magazine. Love the comics. I love, they do, they pull a bunch of stuff, a bunch of common horror tropes, but then they also pull stuff that you haven't really thought about for a long time, or something that you wouldn't think of as a genre, like, horror about movie sets, or, just looking through all this folklore to find the Night Marchers, which I haven't looked it up, but that's gotta be real Hawaiian folklore, right? That's really cool. So, yeah, a lot of what we have seen before reinvented in new ways, and a lot of new stuff too. And overall, I always love every issue of this magazine, and I think the new Carmilla is out because I think I'm a little late getting to this one, or it might be about to get out. I don't know. I'll check my Barnes & Noble, and I'll see if it's out yet. But anyway, I will be getting to that one soon, I hope. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Creeps/Carmilla/Shudder playlist. So if you want to see me talk about more of these, I do have quite a few of them reviewed. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.